Lonnie Jackson back here. And today I want to focus on Rodeheaver Boys Ranch and some of the people who have been here, some of the people who have worked here, and either their experiences while they were here and after they left, and see what the benefit, or if they think that there's something that is could be changed, or suggestions or anything like that. So today, right now, I've got, what's your name?
Larry St. Amand. I'm from Fort Myers, Florida.
North Fort Myers, Florida.
North Fort Myers, Florida.
I remember that.
Right on. Weren't you from the same town?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so LARRY space
AMAND.
Okay, that way
A lot of
I
people
can print it,
Okay.
so it's right.
And a lot of
So it'll
people
be
like
under
to throw an
your-
R in there just for good measure, just so you know. Anyway.
Where at?
ARMAND. Armand. St. Armand's Key.
Armand's.
Yeah.
Okay, so as he had mentioned that, yes, actually my grandmother lived in North Fort Myers, and sometimes when we would go home on vacation from the ranch, we actually would visit. I
Each
think
other?
we visited one time over there when I was
It
at my
wouldn't
grandma's
surprise
house,
me.
because you were like a mile away or something like that. It was really close, on the canal or on the river.
On the river.
Yeah, I remember something like that. So you had what, two brothers?
Two brothers, Brett and Sean.
Brett and Sean.
And-
Okay, what year did y'all come?
Well, I was here at the Rodeheaver Boys Ranch from 1973 to 1977.
73 to 77, so 4 years.
Right.
And
My brother Sean was here 8 years.
mhm.
And then my other brother, Brett, I think around 5 or 6, he got kind of like adopted from a local family that he played football with, the Clarks. So that's kind of how it went. And then when I got old enough, I actually got Sean off the Boys Ranch. He came and lived with me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you took him in.
Yes, because I had somewhat of a family unit. I had a wife and a daughter, and you have to go in front of the DCF or whatever it's called.
Yes.
Department of Children and Families. And so anyway, I got him off the ranch a little bit before he graduated. So he actually got to graduate in North Fort Myers. So I thought that was pretty good.
That's good. So do you think, okay, so all three of y'all came at the same time, though,
That's
right?
correct. Yes, we all
Okay.
came at the same time.
That's what I thought. Now, the difference in growing up on the ranch, where it's not a typical, mom packs your lunch for school, you go
Right.
out, you come back home, and you've got like
Not the
maybe a
usual
brother or a
upbringing,
sister.
right?
Not your usual upbringing. That's
Right
right.
on, yeah.
So it's much different.
Right.
Do you think that you benefited from it, or no?
Well,
We did it
here's
here.
how I look at it. And really, you can only imagine because, life takes you all different directions.
Yes.
So I can only imagine, I think back to like right before we went to the ranch, and I really wasn't getting in a lot of trouble.
Mhm.
But like after I got out of the ranch and went back and visited some of my old friends, I think that I would have ended up in more trouble if I wouldn't have came to the ranch. And I think I learned a lot of work ethic, and they taught you stuff every day. So it was a pretty good experience. So I think I came out better. The one thing I really hate to see people do, though, is they use it as a crutch, We see that all the time in society where they'll take and, this happened to me and now I can't function in society, or, we could go all day on that. But
Right.
I kind of cringe when I see that, because really in life you can only go forward. I mean,
Yeah.
if you had an ex-wife, and things like that, you just have to put it behind you. Life is for the living, and you got to get after it and live.
Exactly. So, seeing how we were brought up, the family unit, and the way that you had to basically create a family on your own after you left the ranch, were there any difficulties, you think,
Well,
because of the difference?
I think mainly the
Like here we had a
difficulties.
cottage where there was like 10, 12 other boys in the same
Right.
house as us,
Right.
and it's not like your typical family.
Right. No, for
So you gotta
sure.
create that.
Yeah, you have to create it. And did I do a great job when I had kids? No, I don't think I did a great job. I did an okay job. I was a good provider. I think it stems from not so much the Boys Ranch as my mother. I mean, when my mother raised us, we weren't really that affectionate. In other words, I don't know if that makes sense, with, family members kissing and
Yes.
hugging and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And
Never been in built.
yeah, man, come on
It was
in.
being built in 1980. They never finished it.
We're having an interview, man. But come on in, man. We'll introduce you. You can be next.
You can be next.
You want to be next?
Icing machine. Remember that out here?
What is it?
They picked up the icings out of the river.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, guys.
Stay out there and you can be next, man. This guy's got a story to tell. He's got to go find paint on a discount.
I gotta go buy paint.
I already got your story for you, man. It's all good.
Yeah, I can edit this part out. Yes.
So it was the affectionate. I mean, that's how I remember my childhood, and I think that's where I was weak also with my children. In other words, I wasn't affectionate enough, but you do the best you can. I'll be honest, like a lot of people in the world, I didn't plan to have kids, but it happens. So you deal with it, and my kids turned out great. I have no complaints. But like everything in life that we do, you look back and think you could have did better. I mean, hindsight's 20/20. I mean, that's
Yes.
just how it is.
Very true. Very true. But it's back when we were kids, there wasn't a book about how to raise kids, and the foster system back then. I went to a couple homes before I came to the ranch.
Well, I could tell you a couple foster home stories. I mean, I have a little experience in
We
that.
want to
Sounds
focus
like
on the ranch. Not the foster,
that's fine.
But you think it's better that you came to the ranch then? Or?
Well, I don't have enough foster care to tell you that. I only have a very little bit. So that's all. So, but my life was, I guess what I'm saying is, when we came to the Boys Ranch wasn't the first time that me and my brothers were displaced, shall we say.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? My mother was kind of like in and out all the time. So we had periods where one time we lived in Toronto with Uncle Bill, you know what I'm saying? And things of that nature.
So you're always moving about, and you weren't really like had a place?
Or steady, right. I guess what it was in the 60s, my mom and dad, they broke up a lot, I guess. And so, that happens to everybody even now. So
exactly.
I can only, like I said, I mainly use my neighborhood that I lived in before I came to the ranch, which ironically enough, I ended up right back in North Fort Myers, which is great, I think, but I just didn't really plan it that way. It just kind of happened. Like I said, life kind of happens to you. So, so I'm back in North Fort Myers. And I just think that I may have gotten in more trouble at home. I still am friends with a few of the guys I used to hang out with in North Fort Myers before I went to the ranch. I still try to keep in contact with a few of the guys that I knew at the ranch. And that's, how this interview came to be. So, I don't know. Ask a question, man.
That's what I was wanting to know about your experiences and whether you thought it was good or bad. And it was a good work ethic.
Can I brag about what I did yesterday?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm going to brag about what I did yesterday because I went to Gainesville and I went to drag racing school. Drag racing school. I went to drag racing school, and so there's like 20 people in the class, and then we had 14 of us. We raced against each other. I beat everybody in the class. I had to win 7 times, and I won a little tiny trophy, but it was awesome because it was in Gainesville. And when I lived on the Boys Ranch, I used to take my GTO to Gainesville. I was one of the few kids that was allowed to have a car. And, anyway, like any kid would do, I got in trouble. So we'll just leave it at that. But I felt victorious yesterday when I went down the drag strip. I'll just tell you that.
And you remember way back then, we had so many different opportunities to do things, whereas a normal family may not have had.
Right.
For instance, we would go and sell the books at
At
the
the Gator
drag race and
Nationals.
the Gator Nationals
Right.
every year.
I never did that, but I did go to the Gators game one day and sold Coca-Colas.
Yep, that was another thing we could do to
and
earn extra money.
I try to use what happened to me that day in business. Don't run out of stuff, because I could have made $1 million that day, but every time I went to get more Cokes, they didn't have any. I was complaining a lot, but I did make money. As soon as you'd walk out of the exit into the stands, all the Cokes were gone, man. Gone.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd run
They
back
go
to
quick.
get more, and I'd be in line for an hour to get the Cokes. So
Especially
instead of
if you're on
making
the
20 or
sunny side.
30 bucks, I might have made $100 that day. Anyway.
And that's a lot for a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
That would have
in-
been like
in-
winning the lottery back then, man. I used to work for $1 or $2 an hour back then.
So let me ask you this. College football, who's your favorite team?
I don't really have one, I'll be honest. My brother is a huge Gators fan. I just...
Do you know why?
Why he's a Gators fan? Because
Yes.
we're located. I mean, he spent 8 years on the Boys Ranch. I'm sure that was his college team while he was here.
And
That's how I remember it.
maybe the influence that they had, because they allowed us to come in and do that,
Right,
may have put an imprint on him.
right. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yes. Well, I mean, it's community. I mean, think about all the things around Palatka here, and they would have us as guests. You know, I can remember they had that Wild West territory in Ocala, and they opened their doors, and we got to go there for free. We did a lot of things like that.
Yeah, and our summer trips.
Yeah, the summer trips were great, and shout out to Mr. Bill Green. He shifted gears all the way to North Carolina in that bus. Anyway, he used to drag us all over the place and put up with us. So
Right.
anyway, yeah, we had some great times up in the Carolinas. And then as I got older, I think 2 summers I worked in Ocala, and Mr. O'Quinn was nice enough to let us stay in a house trailer. So we actually got to spend the summer and make money every day. So that was a good time.
Okay, so Ocala, now,
That was Grosse Pointe Farms.
okay,
Right.
that wasn't the one that George Steinbrenner owned.
No, George Steinbrenner at that time was pretty much out of the picture.
Okay, so that was after.
Yeah, this was in the
Yankee
70s. Yeah, the whole time I was here, Mr. McClellan knew George Steinbrenner and asked him for money, because he would always see him in Ocala at the breeder sales and things like that.
Right.
But that was after I was gone, when they even built the ballpark here on the ranch.
Okay,
But
because we had some things that happened here at the ranch during the annual meeting, where George Steinbrenner had showed up and
Right.
brought some of his players.
Okay.
But that was after you left.
yes, and I guess I came to a few annual meetings, like after I left, but I missed that one, I guess. I was here when Bobby Bowden was here.
Okay,
And
and it's great, that
And when
so many
you lived
people-
here when Eddie Albert and Richard Boone came, right?
Yeah,
You remember that?
and that might have been before you. Meatloaf?
No, I wasn't here for that one, but it sounds like fun, man. When we were here too, you're talking about drag racing. We're talking about drag racing. The drag racing team Sox and Martin, they were very famous in the 70s.
Uh-huh.
They came to the ranch. They showed us their cars. They put them over on the basketball court. We checked them all out, and then they had us as guests at the Gator Nationals that same year.
Yeah.
I want to say that was around 74, but I'm not sure.
And 74 is the year that I got here.
Right. So,
And, there's so many organizations, so many people that's just like all around the country, not just here around the ranch or just in Florida, but around the country, that goes out of their way to stop in and do just nice things for the kids or for the organization.
well,
And this is a nonprofit, so
we live in a great country
yeah.
with great people.
Yeah, and it was great back then. And, fortunately, we ended up in a place where we were able to thrive, whereas not everyone is as fortunate.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people that were at the Boys Ranch, it gave them a good start to the world. That's my opinion. Both my brothers are doing just fine.
That's good. That's good. Glad to hear it. All right. I appreciate you sitting down with us today and giving us your opinion.
Well, thanks for having me, Lonnie Jackson.